So yes, good morning students, welcome. So yes, today we are going to learn about a new experiment. So I share you with my slides for that. Fine. So yes, now today we will going to learn about new biology practicals. Fine. So what's our aim for the experiment? Is to study the plant specimen and we have to identify them. Fine. What are the material required? Specimens. We require slides. We require models and even the virtual images. These are the various materials that will be required to conduct our today's experiment. So this we have already done in our theory class, that the five kingdom scheme which is proposed by Whittaker. Fine. The whole living world is divided into these five groups: Monera, Protista, fungi, Plantae and Animalia. Out of these first three, that is the Monera, Protista, and fungi, the representative belonging to all the three groups, first three groups, Monera, Protista, and fungi, we have already done in our previous biology practical. So today we will going to learn about our next group, that is the Plantae, and whatever the representative groups or the specimens that belong to this group, that belong to this kingdom, Plantae, that we will going to study today. So today's main aim for the study is to study the specimen that belong to the kingdom or the group Plantae. Fine. So now we will start with our experiment. So this is the kingdom Plantae, to which all the green plants that belongs to it. So that's why it is also called as the kingdom of the plants. Fine. Now, this kingdom plant is very big because we know that on our living earth, a huge diversity of the plants they are present on this earth. So that's why this kingdom Plantae is further divided into five other groups. These are the algae, bryophytes, pteridophytes, gymnosperms, and angiosperms. Fine. So these are the five groups to which this kingdom Plantae is divided. It includes the lower plants. Fine. Algae and bryophytes together they are called as the lower plants, and angiosperm, these are called as the higher plants. So in this way you can see all these plant groups, they are arranged in the order of their complexity from lower to the higher. Algae and bryophytes, they are the lower plants in which no true leaves, stems and stem is there. But when we move towards the angiosperm, so these are the higher plants which have the true leaves, flowers, stems, roots in them, and they bear the beautiful sexual flowers on them. Fine. So these are the angiosperms. This is the flowering plant. So this is the higher group in which all the angiosperm, the flowering plant, they are included. So these are the different examples or the different representative that we will going to study today. Fine. So let's start with it. So now, so yes, now, so this is our first one. First one, the seventh specimen, Spirogyra. Fine. The Spirogyra, it is commonly called as the water silk or the pond skunk. Fine. This is the classification of this Spirogyra, kingdom Plantae, division Chlorophyta, class Chlorophyceae, and genus is the Spirogyra. Fine. So now let's start with it. So where you find this Spirogyra? Here you can see this Spirogyra is commonly found in the freshwater bodies like the pools, lakes and ditches. And here you can see it is commonly called as the water silk or the pond skunk. Why? Because when we touch it, it is very slippery in touch. Why it is slippery in touch? Because its body, its plant body, it is made up of numerous thread-like filaments, and these thread-like filaments are very slippery, very slippery. That's why it is commonly called as a water cell. Fine. So here you can see how this Spirogyra is growing naturally in the lake, in the pond. Fine. So now let's study its structure. So structurally, it is a multicellular. It is a green filamentous alga. Here you can see it is green in color because it contains the green chlorophyll pigment in it. Fine. And it is filamentous. The body is filamentous, which is made up of numerous cells, and all these cells, they are stacked upon each other. They are stacked upon each other. So that's why it is a filamentous alga. Here you can see, and whole plant body, it is covered by the means of a mucilaginous sheath. Due to this mucilaginous sheath, it is a slippery in touch. Fine. It's thread-like filament. They are slippery in touch. Now here you can see each filament. This is the one filament of the Spirogyra. Here you can see each filament of this Spirogyra. It is made up of numerous cylindrical cells. Here you can see the cylindrical cells are there. They are stacked upon each other from end to end. And since it is a plant, it belongs to the kingdom Plantae. So that's why the cell wall will be there. And this cell wall, it is two layer made up of the cellulose and pectin. Fine. So here you can see the cell wall is present outside the cell membrane, which is made up of cellulose and pectin. Here you can see internally the cytoplasm is there. So cytoplasm is there, and a centrally placed nucleus is there. Fine. And vacuole is also there. And the most characteristic feature of this specimen Spirogyra is there. Here you can see the chloroplast you can find. And this chloroplast, it is arranged spirally in a ribbon shaped structure. Here you can see the spirally arranged chloroplast. You can see it is looking like a spiral ribbon which is running across this cylindrical cell of this Spirogyra. Fine. So this is the characteristic feature of this specimen by which you can identify this Spirogyra. Fine. We have model of this in our lab. I will show you at in the end. So here you can see the chloroplast, they are arranged spirally. Fine. And a single nucleus is present in the center. And how it reproduces? See, this Spirogyra, it can reproduce both by the asexual method, by the means of fragmentation. When each of these fragments, it breaks down, it will germinate, it will develop into a new Spirogyra. Fine. And it can also reproduce sexually by the means of the conjugation. Now I show you its structure. Now I show you its model. Here you can see, this is the model of the Spirogyra. This is the model of the Spirogyra. Here you can see how this is the filament. This is the filamentous alga, which is a Spirogyra. Here you can see this is the one of the cell of this Spirogyra, in which a spirally arranged chloroplast, you can see it. You can see it. So this is the characteristic feature of this Spirogyra by which you can identify it. Fine. So if this comes in exam, so all these points, 3 to 4 points along with the diagram, label diagram you have to draw in the exam. It will come in the spotting. Now moving on to the next specimen. Now the next is a Riccia. So now the Riccia it is also commonly called as the liverwort. Its classification is the kingdom Plantae, division Bryophyta, class Hepaticea, and then genus is the Riccia. Fine. So this Riccia, it commonly found in the damp and the humid places. It is commonly found in the hilly areas. Fine. So when in Pune, when it rains, so you see, initially before the rain, it was green, barren lands are there. But when the monsoon comes in the Pune and around the Pune, so whole mountains, whole Pune region, it get covered with a green mat. So that green mat, actually it is a Riccia. These are the liverwort, these are the mosses that forms a huge dense green mats on the hilly areas that are found around the Pune. Fine. So this is that Riccia liverwort. Fine. So the plant body. Now the plant body, here you can see it is dorso-ventrally flattened. Here you can see it is dorso-ventrally flattened, and it is its plant body, it's called as a thallus. Thallus means a sac-like structure, a bag-like structure. So the plant body, it's composed of the thallus, which is sac-like. Since it is divided into the two parts, that's why it is called as a dichotomously branched thallus, because each of the thallus, हर एक जो sac-like structure है, it is dichotomously branched. Fine. So here you can see the plant body, it is dorso-ventrally flattened like a leaf, and it is dichotomously branched thallus you can found. Now when this thallus, it branches When we arrange them together, it looks like a rosette. Rosette means it looks like a flower, but it's not a true flower, but it looks like a puri plant body, it looks like a rosette. Fine. Now, here you can see this is the thallus of this liverwort, Rixia, in which a midrib is there. Here you can see the midrib is there. You can see here is the midrib. The midrib is there, which runs in the center on the dorsal surface, and an apical notch is there. Here you can see the apical notch is there with the growing point in its apex. Fine. See, this is the lower plants which belongs to the division or the group Bryophyta. So these are the lower plants. So in these lower plants, no true leaves, no true stem, and no true roots are found. So instead of these true things, some alternatives are found in them. For example, in this case, Rixia, instead of true leaves, they have scales. They have scales on them. Fine. Instead of true roots, they have rhizoids in them. So these scales and rhizoids, they are present on the ventral surface, of this plant body. Here you can see these are the rhizoids. So these numerous unicellular rhizoids, they are given off from the ventral surface of this plant body, which is thallus-like. They are tubular. What is the function of these rhizoids? These rhizoids, they simply helps in the anchorage. That is the attachment of this plant body to the substratum. The substratum, it can be soil also, it can be moist rock also, and it also helps in the absorption of the minerals and nutrients from the soil and makes it available for the plant. Fine. See, this bryophyte, Rixia, its plant body is gametophyte. Its plant body is gametophyte. Gametophyte means it is haploid. It is N. So what I mean to say is that the life cycle of this particular bryophyte, Rixia, it begins with a gametophytic stage. Gametophytic stage means it is haploid. It is represented by the N. So whole plant body is N. It is haploid. Gametophytic means it bears numerous sex organs in it. Sex organs होंगे, so then what these sex organs they will do? They will produce gametes. What kind of gamete? Male gamete as well as a female gamete. So since this is a gametophytic stage, it is haploid, it bears the sex organs in it. The male sex organ, they are called as the entheridia, and the female sex organ, they are called as the archegonia. The male sex organ entheridia, they will produce the male gamete, which are called as the entheridium. And the female sex organ, it is called as the archegonia. It will produce the egg or the ovule. Fine. Now, now what will happen when the male gamete is formed? When the during the fertilization, what will happen? The male gamete, it will fuses with the female gamete, and it results into the formation of a zygote. This zygote, it is diploid. How it is formed? It is formed by the fusion of N plus N. That is a male plus female gamete, and it results in the formation of a zygote, which is 2N. Now this diploid zygote, now it will divide. It will divide mitotically, and it will produce a diploid body. And this diploid body we call as a sporophyte. And this sporophyte, it is 2N. It is diploid. Why it is diploid? Because it is produced by the mitotic division of this diploid zygote. That's why this sporophyte, it is also diploid. Now, see the sporophyte of this Rixia, it is not very well developed. It is very small and inconspicuous. You cannot identify it. It is simply represented by the means of these capsules. Here you can see dots are there, green dots are there. These are the capsules which remain embedded in the thallus. And the main function of this sporophyte is that some cells, they undergo meiosis. And they produces the haploid spores. Haploid spores, they will be N, so the life cycle will be complete. So this is the best representative of a life cycle of a bryophyte. Its representative is Rixia. It begins its life cycle with the gametophytic state, that is the N. It has the sex organs on it, male sex organ and female sex organ. Male sex organ, it produces antheridium as a male gamete. Female sex organ produces egg. With the fusion of both of these, the fertilization will take place, and with it, the zygote, diploid zygote will form. It will divide mitotically. It produces a diploid body that is called as a sporophyte, which is 2N. So now the gametophytic stage, it alternates with the sporophytic stage. Fine. Now this sporophyte, it is represented by the means of these capsules that remain embedded in the thallus. Now the meiosis will occur in it and it produces the haploid spores. Now these haploid spores, it will again germinate. It will again germinate to produce the thallus like this. Now the life cycle of this bryophyte Rixia is completed. यहीं से start हुई थी, यहीं आके complete हो गई. So this is how the life cycle of this Rixia is completed. Fine. Now moving on to the, so now I will show you, we have the model of it. Now I show you the model of it. So here you can see this is a liverwort. This is the model of the liverwort that we have in our lab. Fine. So this is the liverwort. Fine. So if this come in exam, you have to identify it and you have to comment upon it. Fine. So now moving on to the next specimen. So now the next specimen is the funaria that is a moss. Now see this bryophyte, under this bryophyte the two further subgroups they are included, that is the liverworts and mosses. Fine. So funaria moss. So it belongs to the kingdom Plantae. Division is the Bryophyta, same division to which Rixia belongs. Here you can see class is the Musci and the genus is the Funaria, commonly we call it the moss. Fine. Where you can find it, its habitat, it commonly grows on the moist and the shady and the damp soils, as well as you can also see it on the walls of the houses as well as from the in the crevices of the rocks. Fine. Now the main plant body. See this we have already done in our theory class. Here again the main plant body, it is haploid. It is haploid, that is it is represented by the means of the gametophyte. That is the gametophytic stage is there, which is N, which is haploid N. See this gametophyte, it is independent. It is green in color. It is green in color, it means it has chlorophyll in it, due to which it can prepare its own food by the process of photosynthesis. That's why it is green and independent and photosynthetic in nature. It is autotrophic in nature. See, this is the main plant body, which is haploid, gametophytic. It is green, it is erect, and its whole plant body, it is differentiated into the rhizoids. Here you can see the rhizoids are there. These rhizoids, they are not the true roots, but they look like the roots. So these rhizoids are there, which are multicellular and branched with oblique septa. And true stem is not there, but you can see the main axis is there. So this main axis, it looks like the stem, but it's not the true stem. Fine. So this main axis, the stem uh, is there, and now the leaves. Here you can see the leaves they are. So the leaves, here you can see the spirally arranged leaves are there, and each leaf, it is sessile. It is sessile. Sessile means it do not contain any petiole. Petiole is entirely absent. Normal leaves में क्या होता है? Petiole is there. The stalk is there. This stalk we call as a petiole. Since the here the leaf is, it is sessile, so this petiole, it is absent. That's why it is called as a sessile leaf, and it has a distinct midrib in it. The leaves, they have the distinct midrib in it, which is running in the center. Fine. So now the main axis, it bears male and female sex organs because it is gametophyte. So male sex organ, they will again called as the antheridia. They are born at the apex, and the axis which is bearing it, it is called as a male shoot because it is bearing the male sex organ antheridia at its apex. While the lateral branches, some lateral branches are also given out. Fine. So these lateral branches, they bear the female sex organ. These female sex organ, they are called as the archegonia. Archegonia. So this will be called as a female shoot. Fine. Now, what will happen? The male antheridia, it will produce a male gamete N. Female sex organ, it will produce a female gamete egg. At the time of fertilization, both will fuse together and a diploid zygote is formed. Now this diploid zygote, it will divide mitotically, and what it will produce? It will produce a sporophyte. It will produce a sp sporophyte. So now this sporophyte, here you can see the sporophyte, it remains attached to the main parent plant. Fine. So this sporophyte here, it is well developed. Trichia में कैसा था? दिखता ही नहीं था, inconspicuous था. You cannot identify it. But here the sporophyte is well developed. It is differentiated into the foot, sepia and capsule. Foot, it is the basal part by which it remain attached to the parent body, which is the gametophyte main parent body. The seta, it is the main stalk, long and slender stalk. And the capsule, at the tip of it, it bears a capsule in it. So inside this capsule, a large number of the spores, they are filled in. How these spores they are produced? Some cells which are found in these sporophytes, they undergo meiosis. They undergo meiosis, and which then produces the haploid spores. Haploid spores and spores. Now these spores, they will again germinate to produce the filamentous protonema, that is the main plant body, which is again the haploid. So this is how the whole life cycle of this Funaria moss is completed. Here you can see such kind of structures you must have seen. You must have seen when you go to the hilly areas around the Pune and all. Fine. So these Funaria mosses and the liverworts, they are very common in and around the Pune. Fine. So we have also have the model of it. I will show you. So this is the model. Here you can see this is a moss. Here you can see this is the main plant body, which is the gametophyte. This main plant body, it is called as a protonema. And here you can see these how the sporophyte, it is attached to the main plant body. Main plant body. Here you can see the capsule is there. This is the long slender seta is there, and foot. This is the basal part by which it remains to the main plant body. So all these structures you have to identify, you have to comment when this come in exam. Fine. So this is the specimen of Funaria moss. Fine. Now moving on to the next specimen. So now the specimen. Next specimen is the Dryopterus. Dryopterus fern. So now Dryopterus fern. So this is the classification of this Dryopterus kingdom plantae. Division is the Pteridophyta. Now this is the next division, next higher division. Earlier we have done with the Spirogyra, Bryophyta, and then now we have started with the Pteridophyta. See, Spirogyra belongs to the algae, and liverworts and mosses, they belong to the Bryophyta, and then next comes the Pteridophyta, to which the Dryopterus of fern it belongs. Fine. So this is the third one we are studying it. Class is the Felicini and genus is the Dryopterus, commonly we call it the fern. Now these are the fern. See here you can see these pteridophyte. Why they are called as a pteridophyte? Because they have feather-like leaf in them. That's why commonly they are called as the ferns. Commonly they are called as the ferns or the pteridophytes. Fine. So this Dryopterus is commonly called as a fern. It is a land plant. It is the first true terrestrial land plant which is found on the earth. It grows in the cool, shady, moist places. The main plant body, it is sporophyte. So this is the main characteristic difference. See, now the starting of main plant body, which is sporophyte, now it has begun. Earlier, what we have studied, algae हमने देखा. We have seen the bryophytes. Bryophytes में we have seen the liverworts and mosses. Their main plant body was haploid, anthe. But here the main plant body, it is sporophyte, it is 2N. So that's why when this main plant body, it is sporophyte, it is diploid, it is 2N, it is well developed. It is considered as a well developed. It is considered as an advanced feature of the plants. So here, since the main plant body, it is sporophyte, diploid, 2N, it is well developed and it is well differentiated into the true root, true stem, and true leaves. Fine. So here you can see this is the main plant body. The true roots are there, adventitious roots are there, stem is there, Stem is there. Stem, it is a modified rhizome in this case. And here you can see the leaves are there. In this case, the leaves, they are pinnately compound leaves, which we commonly call them as a fronds. Together, पूरी की पूरी leaf को we call them as a fronds, because ये बहुत पूरी की पूरी compounded है, divided है into the leaflets. So such type of the leaves, they are called as a pinnately compound leaves, in which they are further subdivided into the leaflets, and together we call them as the fronds. Fine. But these are the true leaves. See, here you can see the mature leaves. This is a diagram of the mature leaf. The mature leaf, it bears numerous kidney-shaped structures. These kidney-shaped structures, they are called as a soroia. Fine. So the leaves which are bearing these soroia on their ventral surfaces, they are called as the sporophylls. Sporophylls means uh, these spore containing leaves. That's why they are called as the sporophylls. Fine. So these soroia, they bear sporangia in which all these spores they are filled in. All these spores they are filled in. See, these spores, they are haploid. How they are produced? They are produced by the meiosis. By the meiosis. So these haploid spores, they are produced. Now these spores, they are haploid. They will germinate. They will germinate. They will divide to give rise to a gametophytic stage. Gametophytic stage. In this case, the gametophytic stage, it is a heart shape. It is a more or less heart-shaped, membranous, thin membranous gametophyte, which we call as a prothallus, See, this is a gametophyte. So this gametophyte, prothallus, it is monoecious. Monoecious means it contains both sex organs in it, male and female sex organs into the same thallus, onto the same thallus. Fine. So antheridia, these are the male sex organ. Female sex organ, they are called as the archegonia. Male will produce a male gamete. Female will produce a female gamete. Now, with the fertilization, the fusion of these two male and female gamete will happen, and a diploid zygote will be produced. Now this diploid zygote, it will divide this time mitotically, and it will produce the main plant body, which is the sporophyte. So here the life cycle of this fern is complete. So in short, what I mean to say is that here the life cycle, it starts with the diploid stage, which is the sporophyte, which we call as the sporophytic phase, sporophytic stage. So this is the sporophyte. It is well developed. It has two roots, stem, and leaves on it. These leaves, they are called as the fronds. Fine. See, these sporophylls, they bear numerous soroia in which sporangia are there, and these sporangia, they are filled with the haploid spores. These haploid spores, they will germinate. They will produce with the germination, they will produce the next generation. Next generation कौन सी होगी? Sporophyte के बाद क्या आएगी? Gametophyte. So now they will produce the gametophyte. So this gametophyte, it is heart shaped. It is called the prothallus. It bears both male and female sex organs on the same thallus. That's why it is monoecious. Fine. Now, both male and female sex organ, they are present. Male, female sex organ, they are present. Now, the male sex organ, it will produce the male gamete. Female sex organ, it will produce the female gamete. With the fusion of these two, now a diploid zygote will be produced. This diploid zygote, uh, it will divide mitotically to produce a sporophyte. Fine. So now the sporophyte is done. Now the main plant body is there. Fine. So this is how the life cycle is completed. Now we also have the specimen of it. I show you it's a specimen. So now here you can see this is the specimen of pteridophyte. So this here you can see this is the specimen of pteridophyte. Here you can see how the feather-like leaves are there. So these leaves, they are definitely compound. They are commonly called as the fronds. On the ventral side of it, some soroia can also be seen. But in this, see, this is a specimen. Here you cannot find the soroia. Fine. So they will be filled with the spores. If this come in the exam, you have to explain, you have to write all 2 to 3 points on it. First you have to identify it and then comment upon it, and then you have to make any one diagram of it, like this diagram you can draw it. Fine. So in this way it will come in the spotting. Now the next specimen is the Pinus. Pinus, it is commonly called as the chip. This is the classification of this Pinus. Kingdom Plantae. Division is the Spermatophyta and class is the Gymnospermae. Gymnospermae. So these, it belongs to the class Gymnosperms. So this is again the advanced group under the kingdom Plantae. Advanced class under the kingdom Plantae. Fine. So now what is the habitat where you can find these spiners they are growing? They commonly grow in they are commonly found in the temperate or the subtropical regions on the slope of the hills. Fine. Here again the main plant body, it is sporophyte. Here you can see the main plant body, it is sporophyte. You must have seen such kind of plants having the needle-like leaves on them, growing on the slopes of the hills, growing on the slope of the hill. So this is the main plant body, which is the sporophyte, which is diploid, which is 2N. Since it is well developed है, advanced है, main plant body sporophyte है, so that's why it is well differentiated into the true root will be there, and this type tap root system is found, and the stem is also well developed, and the leaves are also well developed. Or leaves so these are the modified हैं कि these are modified into the needles. So these plants, this is the peculiar feature of this plant, that these plants, since they are growing in the subtropical region, so that's why their leaves they are modified into the needles. So they have the needle like leaves on them. Fine. And the taproot system is also well developed, and they remain associated with the mycorrhiza, that is the fungi. So here the fungal association you can find here in the form of the mycorrhiza. Fine. Now the stem, it is well developed, it is true, and it is covered with a bark on it, and it bears two type of branches on it, long long shoots as well as the drop shoots. Drop shoots means इनकी growth limited होती है, that's why they are called as a drop shoot. They are called as a drop shoot, and they generally have needle like leaves on them, and they have the limited growth, that's why they are called as a drop shoot. Another is a long shoot. They can grow up to any length. Their growth is unlimited, that's why they are called as a long shoot, and they generally have the scale like leaves on them. Right. So here you can see two types of leaves. You can see the scale leaves you can see, as well as the foliage leaves you can see. Here you can see the needle like leaves are there. Now, see, this Pinus is a monoecious. It bears both male and female cones in the spring season. In the spring season, at the time of the reproductive, when the reproductive phase will come in this plant, it will bear both male and female cones at the time of spring season. Fine. Here you can see the male cones, they are born in the clusters on the long branches, on these long shoots. Fine. And these, uh, these male cones, they generally contain microsporophylls in them, and all these microsporophylls, they are arranged spirally. Around a central axis, and each of these microsporophylls means the leaf bearing microspores, microsporangia or the microspores. So these microsporophylls, they generally contain two microsporangia. Sporangia means spore containing bodies. So these microsporangia, they are filled with the microspores or the pollen grains. Microsporangia, they are filled with the microspores or the pollen grain. Pollen grain, they are nothing but these are the male gametes. Haploid male gametes, N. While on the other hand, you can see here, you can see the beautiful female cones are there. So these female cones, they are generally brown in color, they are generally woody, They are generally very woody, tough, they are very solid, and they are born singly. They are born singly, terminally on the long shoots. Fine. Each female cone, it is cone shaped. Here you can see the cone shaped female cones are there. They are generally surrounded by the woody megasporophylls. Here you can see these megasporophylls. They generally contain two ovules on its dorsal side. Two ovules on this dorsal side. See what will happen at the time of the fertilization. These these pollen grains, they will germinate, and they will carry the male gamete. These male gamete, it will fuse with the egg. It will fuse with the egg. This egg, it is contained inside this ovule, and when this fusion of male and female gamete, it will takes place. This process we call as a fertilization, and with this, what will form? A diploid zygote will be formed. This diploid zygote, it will develop into an embryo, or I can say seed. It will develop into the seed. So what will happen at the time of the sexual reproduction after the fertilization? जो पहले ovule था, after the fertilization it has developed into the seed, and this time this seed is naked. Why this seed is naked? Because here no flowers you can see. आपको कोई flowers देखने को नहीं मिलते. You cannot see swollen ovary. You cannot see flower, you cannot see ovary. So that's why ovule तो है. Ovule after the fertilization it develop into a seed, but ovary नहीं है, ovary wall नहीं है. That's why these seeds, they are naked. They are naked. They are not the true fruits. They are not the true fruits. सिर्फ seeds ही हैं. सिर्फ seeds ही हैं, and very tough and hard. Fine. So this is the characteristic feature of this class gymnosperm, that they have the naked seeds in them, because here the ovary wall, the true fruits, they are absent. Only ovules are there. So that's why these ovules, after the fertilization, they develop directly into the seeds, and these seeds, they are naked. Now we also have the specimen of it. I show you a specimen. Here you can see this is the specimen of Pinus. Here you can see this is the long shoot bearing the numerous needle-like leaves on it. Needle-like leaves on it. So if this specimen, it comes in exam, so you have to write 2 to 3 comments on it. First, you have to identify it. Yes, this is specimen. It is of the Pinus. We commonly called as a kir. And you have to write any 3 points that I have explained you, and you have to draw one label diagram like this. That's enough. But you have to explain male and female cone. Don't forget to write it in exam when this come in a specimen. Fine. So so this 10th specimen, this is the last for today's demonstration purpose, today's biology practical, because in the next practical we will going to learn about the monocot, dicot, and the lichen. These 3 specimens are left that we will going to conduct in our next biology practical. So fine. So do practice well. Stay home, stay safe. Have a good day. Have a nice day. Bye.